Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I have just received my MacBook Air with M1 chip. Box looks exactly the same as the other boxes, with the exception, I'm sure, of it somewhere indicating that the CPU is not Intel. So this is a 13-inch MacBook Air. I got the low end because this is my secondary computer. I didn't want to, I already have a really good 16-thread MacBook Pro 16-inch. So this is my secondary computer, which I'm looking for basically for it to be a really capable Chromebook. But I am going to benchmark it to find out how well it performs in basic web stuff like web stuff like JavaScript performance, general web page performance. So I'm going to be performing some web benchmarks. I'll try to install Chrome because I imagine that hasn't been converted to a universal binary, and see how that performs and see what's the difference between the performance for a universal app, a native ARM app, and a app running under Rosetta. So I'll run benchmarks using Chrome and using Rosetta. Rather using Safari, which will be native. So as usual, Apple makes everything very premium. You can just pull off the plastic with a nice little pull tab. No digging for knives or anything like that. Box feels really nice, really solid. Can keep it for years so that when it's time to resell it, you can just resell it. All right. Let's do the magic unboxing. It's Christmas in November. Ooh. Okay. Has a nice pull tab. Lift it up. Feels heavier than I thought it would be. I thought somehow it would be lighter because it doesn't have a fan in it. I guess that's out of the question. Set that to the side for a second. All right, so we have I think it's a 60-watt adapter. USB-C to USB-C cord. Looks like 3 meters. Well, not 3 meters, 2 meters. I know I'm speaking metric, even though I'm an American. Okay, let's put that on the side. All right, for now, the pièce de résistance. We open this up and it just slides out. Very nice. I actually thought I was going to be getting this a day early, but that didn't work out. So usually Apple has like a little piece of paper in between the keyboard and the screen. Having a hard time opening. Yep. Whoa. comes right on. That's a nice out-of-the-box experience. And you can tell immediately that it has a higher color gamut than the other MacBook Airs, because I've seen them before. And
English is the main language. Press the return key.
Ooh, it's talking to me. But like I was saying, you can tell that the color gamut it's much higher. It looks as good as a MacBook Pro screen, because the new P3 color gamut is obvious. It may not be as bright, but it is as colorful. Side note, the battery is charged up almost all the way to the top. I'm wondering if I got this, I'm one of the first people to get this, that this came right from China. Well, it did come right from China. I was tracking it. Wonder what the problem is here. Okay, I guess it was having a hard time connecting to my network for some reason. But now we're on to data and privacy. It's asking me if I want to migrate from another Mac. Nope, I always like to do a clean install. And Apple stuff always has a certain smell when you first get it out of the box. Not pleasant, not distasteful, just a certain smell. All right. Plugging up the MacBook Air, because it insists on, or it doesn't insist, but it's suggesting, and I imagine it's suggesting strongly, that it be on AC power. Maybe it's saying that because it thought that I intended to transfer information from another Mac, which I don't. Oh, that's why. Okay, I'm going to sign in with my iCloud account. And through the magic of editing, I'll skip over the part where I type my password. Okay, I'm back. The keyboard feels really nice. It's still the Magic keyboard. It's not the really super shallow butterfly key keyboard, which is good. I don't know why it's taking so long for it to do network stuff. it prompted me to sign in on another device. Okay, here we go. We're at the computer, create computer account. It always puts my full name in, and I always take it out because I'm just, well, John. And I'm going to move my fingers out of the screen just so I can type in my password. Okay, so now my super secret, super secure password has been typed in. I can go ahead and create my computer account. The fun thing about this is it's all being done on a ARM chip, basically the same chip that's in my iPad Pro. Which I'm going to use to do a demonstration of Sidecar. It's setting up my iCloud account right now. So it's taking a bit longer than I expected. Maybe there are lots of people hitting the servers right now, unboxing their new MacBooks and MacBook Pros and MacBook Airs. Let's set up Hey Siri. Hey Siri. Hey Siri, open the Documents folder. Hey Siri, show my downloads. Hey Siri, what's the weather? Hey Siri, what does the rest of my day look like? Alright, Siri's all set up. And I'll be a good citizen and share my audio recordings. I have nothing to hide. Okay, now it's time to set up Touch ID. Use exactly one finger. Move my finger around a little bit. Touch ID is ready. Set up Apple Pay. And I'll use my Apple card, but not my other cards on this computer. I'll have to use the magic of editing to remove all my personal information. All right. It's asking me, do I want dark or light? And I can't decide, so I'm going to set it to auto. True Tone display. Yep, I don't do photo editing. Although I will edit this video on the MacBook Air just to see how it works. I don't have Final Cut Pro or anything, but I'll just use iMovie. Yay, I'm at the desktop. Okay. Alright, it's asking me if I want to turn on Wi-Fi calling, or at least it looks like it is, and yes, I do. So now all my computers will be ringing whenever I get a phone call. And hey, that's me. Whatever magic they're doing with the M1 chip and video processing makes this picture look pretty good. For a 720p camera, that's not bad. All right. What's new in Safari? I like how I brought over all my links, all my work and personal links over to favorites. First thing I'm going to do is do a quick benchmark. I will go to Octane. It's a JavaScript benchmark, and my 16-inch MacBook Pro with 8 physical cores, 16 threads gets about 49,000. Now let's see how this guy gets along. Whoa! I've never seen a score that high. This thing is a JavaScript beast. Like I said, my MacBook Pro with 8 cores gets 49,000. And this thing's getting 61,000. Maybe that was a fluke or something went wrong or haywire or whatever. Let's run it again. I like to run these web-based benchmarks because they're quick and they're platform independent, because I use Chromebooks, I use Windows machines, I use Macs, and I want to quickly get a picture of what kind of processing power I'm dealing with, and frankly, how well it'll handle the web, because 80% of what I do is in the web. That's crazy. Octane score of 64,000. It must be some kind of hardware acceleration of JavaScript. I'm gonna try it one more time. Maybe it'll even do better because it's already run this particular code. And it has some sort of cache or something like that. Hmm. 62,000. So still extremely impressive so far. Like I said, I've got a almost $3,000 computer that gets 49,000 on this benchmark. Okay, let's try another web-based benchmark. Speedometer. That's it. Speedometer 2.0, browserbench.org. All right, let's see what happens. So this goes through and it simulates a web application. Like somebody wrote a toy to-do application and they have the browser to just go through it. And I don't think I've ever seen it run this fast, ever. It's pretty crazy. Just for context, my MacBook Pro 16 gets like 130. Holy crap. 222, that's off the chart. That is insane. I've never seen it perform like that before. .222. The speedometer only goes up to, I don't know, 140, 150. And like I said, the most I've seen it do on my MacBook Pro 16-inch is like 130, 223. The third time is the charm. Let's run it again. I can tell this thing's going to do very well just because it's just racing through all the menus. I've never seen it run this fast. So far, I'm extremely impressed with these synthetic web benchmarks because, like I said, most of what I do is on the web. I need to use some database clients and some development tools, but wow, this thing is going to perform incredibly. I'm actually kind of glad I did not get the MacBook Pro variant because I don't think that I'm going to need it for a secondary computer. That's pretty wild. Okay. Well, now let's go and download Geekbench. They want $9.99? Oh, crap. It's for science. Okay, let's hide the password again. Okay. Hey, I didn't have to buy it. It turns out I already own a previous version of this item. And Geekbench is recognizing that this is Apple Silicon and it's 3.2 gigahertz. Apple won't even tell you what the gigahertz are. I wonder if the gigahertz are different between this and a MacBook Pro. I have to watch some other YouTube videos to find that out. All right, let's run the CPU benchmark. Now, interestingly, I don't really remember any of my benchmarks from my 16-inch MacBook Pro. I may have to run that and add it in to the video. Again, just for context, because this thing is so far, I've never seen anything run this fast, and this does not have a fan in it. So this is passively cooled. So for bursty workloads where you don't have a sustain, like you're not doing a 10, 15, 30 minute render on it, it should be every bit as fast as the MacBook Pro, as long as you're not pushing it hard for a long time. Place where this not having a fan will come in and hurt this is if you're doing a long compile on Xcode, or you're doing a long video render. The chip is going to get hot and it's going to slow down. So this really wasn't made to be a workhorse. This is a very, very good Chromebook. Although it's a lot more capable than a Chromebook, that's probably not a fair characterization. Okay, 1703 and 7460 for multi-core. I have no idea how good or bad that is. Let's see if I can compare my results. Oh, here's a little icon, so I can upload my results to Geekbench. Let's see if it still remembers my login. Yep. So that result has been added. Now, just to get a little context, let's browse around Geekbench for a second. So 1703, that's the single core. Okay, so it's blown away by some things like the iMac Pro. But remember, this is a consumer computer. So there are computers on top of this for single core scores. But for a Ultrabook, this is scoring in the same territory as the new AMD Ryzen 9, which is a pretty incredible chip. I mean, it's in a computer called a G14 from Asus. It's a gaming computer. It's 14 inches, but it scores the same as my nearly $3,000 MacBook Pro. So, and Ryzen 9 is pretty much on top, Ryzen 9 and 7 is pretty much on top of most of the benchmarks. And you can see here somebody uploaded an Apple M1 score, and it's in the same territory as the Ryzen 9. And the Ryzen 9 has a fan, and it consumes a lot more power, and it's not going to get nearly the performance per watt of this thing. So for an Ultrabook, this is crazy fast based on the Geekbench scores. For a single core, it's got 4 performance cores and 4 efficiency cores. So I think somebody on the interwebs said it kind of the right way. It's like it's 2 4-core processors, not really 8 cores. Although it would be interesting to see how Activity Monitor reports it. By the way, everything, it just pops up. It's very responsive. I never figured out how to determine how many cores I have on based on activity monitor. Okay. All right. Said we were gonna go through a couple of benchmarks. Now let's try to download Chrome. And see how that runs, because that is going to run in emulation. I don't think that it's a native app. Okay. Let's drag and drop. Nice new sounds. Let's turn it up. All right, let's go to Chrome. Whoops. Didn't take me right to Chrome. That's interesting. It's taking a minute to start up initially. Oh, okay. To open Google Chrome, you need to install Rosetta. Do you want to install that now? Okay. So Chrome is not a native app. So that means it needs to run Rosetta in order to, or Rosetta 2 actually, in order to run it, because it's not compiled for ARM. So this is going to be a good indication of how fast ARM emulation is. What's the difference, the delta? Google Chrome was downloaded from the internet. Do you want to open it? Yep. Make Chrome your default browser? No, thank you. Okay. Let's log in. Google Chrome would like to use Bluetooth. No, you don't need to use Bluetooth. Okay, I'm all signed in. I had to stop the video because Google wanted me to confirm that it was me logging in. Okay. So let's go to Octane Browser Benchmark. And remember, with the pure Safari, we got like 63,000, 64,000 on this benchmark. Now under emulation, let's see what we get. I'm guessing that we're going to have a 30% hit. So what does that mean? I'm thinking we'll get like 50,000. Anybody want to take my bet? Any takers? Any takers? this is going to tell me how much of a hit Rosetta is going to impose. Ooh, that's pretty bad. 28,768. Now, it might not be fair to say that that's all Rosetta, because it is a different browser engine. And maybe Apple has put some secret sauce into Safari where on the M1 chip, it just works like grease lightning. But right now, it is performing much, much worse. It's performing at 50% the speed. We're not really holding all things equal because, again, there's two different rendering engines, two different rendering engines, and two different JavaScript engines. One's V8 and the other one's something else. I don't know what Safari uses. Okay, let's try it again for fun. Chrome crashed. Guess there's going to be some weird instabilities with running x86 hardware on an ARM processor, because it has to translate from a whole different processor type. But at least we know that Apple doesn't have magic sauce. It's very expensive to run in emulation. And so right now, Chrome is performing at about half the speed of Safari. Okay, 32,000, a little better. Let's try it one more time. I like to run things 3 times. And because we got a 60,000 score, or in the low 60,000s with Safari, I'm going to say that between the differences between browsers and the fact that everything is being emulated when Chrome is running, there's a 50% hit on performance. 37,000? That's much, much better. It's still not nearly as good as pure Safari, but let's run this one more time, and I wonder if that was a fluke. Maybe the bits just had to get hot for the Rosetta stuff, because that's pretty good performance. I mean, it's okay. Like, I have a really good Chromebook that has a 4-core 8-thread processor in it, a 10th generation processor, and it gets about 38,000, and it performs very well. It's very acceptable. It's not phenomenal, but it's very fast, or it's fast enough. Let's put it like that for web performance. 38,000. Okay. Let's try one more time. What this is beginning to make me think is that between running this program and whatever JavaScript magic is happening under the hood, the performance is going to be better from now on. It's not going to be half as fast as Rosetta, at least not in the long run. So 38,000 is what I think it'll get. 37.6, close if you round up. Okay, so that's interesting. Rosetta and the JavaScript engine here apparently have to just warm up, so to speak. All right, let's try Speedometer Web Benchmark. Browserbench.org. I remember we were getting like 220. I can tell you now, this is not going to be 220. This is probably, oh goodness, this might be 100. Mm, 130. Yeah, let's call it 130. That's my bet. Hmm. 111. So again, it's starting off at about half the speed. Wonder if it'll get better as we run it. So I'll test again. $116, so running about half the speed without any, because this test is not like Octane. It's more just running a browser. It's not just about JavaScript speed, it's about real world speed. It's not pure code running. Maybe there's no opportunities for any code optimization, so this is running about half speed. But half of a crazy, phenomenal speed. Okay, it's sticking pretty steady to 111 to 115.6, which is about half of the 220 that Safari would get. As a matter of fact, I wonder if running the emulated program alongside native Safari will have any impact. So let's try to run Speedometer. Looks like it's not quite as fast as it was before, strangely enough, and I wonder if that's because in the background it's running an emulated app, but it's still going to be well above 150. And it might be 200 still. 223, yeah. Off the chart. So even running at half speed, even with Rosetta coming up with a 40 to 50% performance hit, the was still getting speeds that are comparable to just a regular Intel MacBook. This might actually be better than Intel MacBook, but it's still getting quite respectable speeds. I'm trying to think, are there any other quick tests that I can run? No, I think we're running kind of long right now. Well, hell, why not? I've got plenty of memory left, so oh, that's what we could do. Let's go to the App Store and see if I can download some iOS apps. Okay. Well, it's downloading, which is a good thing. So this is the really interesting thing about the M1 MacBook. The fact that there's so many iPad apps to choose from. High quality iPad apps. So it's expanding on the usefulness of the computer, and it's not running emulated. So this is not an emulation of iOS. This is an actual ARM chip running an ARM program, which is Pythonista, or which is whatever iOS app you download. So I expect it'll be quite fast. And just right out of the gate, looks pretty good. Although I do wonder where it's putting the files. It's got IntelliSense and, well, not IntelliSense, but what do you call it? Code completion. This is a really nice app. Okay. So on iPad, if you hold down the command key, which I'm doing, you can't see it, it'll show you all the shortcuts, but that doesn't happen here. So I'll just manually run. Interesting. And I see why they made all the apps look like iOS apps, so that your iOS programs wouldn't look so out of place. They fit in. Interesting. These are a couple of apps that I like to use on my iPad when I'm connecting to a secure shell server to just do stuff. It's interesting to see that they all appear to, at least they show up